So, for context, I've always been into art, and right from when I was a child, I always wanted to become a painter because that's what my heart was set on. And I was quite good. Not saying I was the best, but for my age, I was always pretty good at it, and I knew that I had a knack for this. Everything was going well, and since I was a kid, I had always told my parents that I wanted to be a painter. In the beginning, they were supportive of me. They told me that I could do whatever I wanted to. But as I grew older and it became clear that I was actually serious about becoming a painter, they started discouraging me. And they told me to be more realistic because people in the creative field hardly ever make it big. They kept telling me that they wanted me to be happy. They wanted me to be able to earn a lot of money. And they were not sure if painting would be the way to go for a stable career in the future. I tried to fight with them, but honestly, after a while, I knew that this was a losing battle, especially because of my brother. My older brother, let's call him Jack, was kind of a jerk. Growing up, we never got along, and even now we don't really get along, but for the sake of our family, we are at least civil to each other. Anyway, he's a tech guy and works in IT, and he, according to my parents, has a respectable job and stable career where he can hope to make it big someday. They have always used him as an example to inspire me, and Jack has also never supported me in the argument that I used to have with my parents, always pretending to have a chip on his shoulder just because he was in STEM. I think it's pretty clear that my career was always a sore spot between me and my parents, and Jack was always the one rubbing salt in the wound. In the past few years, though, it's gotten much worse, and my parents had been nagging me so much that I decided to cut them off completely for the past few months. They were upset that I had quit my job as the art teacher at our high school to focus more on my work. It was not as if I was completely unemployed, though. I still conducted private lessons, and yes, it was not as if I was earning a lot of money, but I could support myself, and that's all I needed until I was able to complete my collection. I was gearing up for an art exhibit, and I needed to channel all my energy into this so that I would be able to make something out of myself this time. It's a whole creative thing, and I could understand why they were worried, but instead of supporting me emotionally, they were just trying to put me down, telling me that I was going to get help with this kind of thing, that was ruining my future and my life, and that they were not going to support me if all of this went south. So I better start taking my life seriously. I mean, if they are really concerned, then I think they would be more polite about it. But this was just a way of belittling me. And again, the constant comparison with my brother really got to me. So I stopped speaking to them altogether. They didn't stop trying to reach out to me, though. But even then, when I was not talking to them, they were still putting me down and making me feel bad about my life choices. But anyway, I did not let any of that get to me. And I focused on my work, and thankfully, the art exhibit went pretty well. In fact, I would say it went fantastically because I made a lot of money, and I think I would be able to call myself comfortable right now because even after paying all my bills and making some expensive purchases, I still have a lot of money, and that's all because my paintings sold for a better price than what I had hoped. In fact, one of my favorite creations got selected for being auctioned at a major art gallery, and a few days ago it was bought for six figures. I did get to meet the buyer, and surprisingly, after a short chat with him, I found out this man happened to be the director of the company that my brother works in. It was truly a small world moment, and I couldn't wait to let my parents know. So I just called them up immediately, and thankfully, they answered. And then I told him exactly what had happened, and obviously they refused to believe me until I showed them the guy who bought my painting, and then they were finally able to connect the dots. In fact, Even until then, they were kind of in disbelief until they conducted a thorough Google search to confirm whether I was telling the truth or not. And finally, after all of that, they reached out to me via text to tell me that they were very sorry about everything that they had said, and they had only wanted the best for me, which is why they had always wanted me to opt for another career choice. But now that they knew for a fact that I was going to do well, they had no second thoughts about wanting to support me, and they wanted me to come over for dinner on the weekend so we could reconcile and be a family once again. But this time, I told them that I was not coming over for dinner because the past few months have been very distressful for me. And most of it has been because of them, because they have constantly been bugging me about my career, about my choices, and they have always made me feel like I'm doing the wrong thing, I'm always disappointing them. So right now, I would really want some space and time away from them because obviously I want to celebrate my success. And I want to do it with people who have always believed in me, not people who have constantly belittled me and looked for ways to make me feel like I could never do anything right. Then finally, I blocked them, and honestly, I felt quite relieved because I felt like I could do whatever I wanted now, without worrying about whether I was letting my parents down again. But now it's been a few days and they are not reacting to any of this well. Jack has reached out to me. He sent me an email telling me in great detail about how much I have hurt my parents by blocking them, making them feel like they have let me down, which they have actually, so I don't understand how that's a bad thing. Anyway, in his email, he told me that he was very disappointed that I decided to call up my parents only to gloat about my success and then cut them back out of my life again, even though now they have had a change of heart and they deserve a second chance. It was rich coming from him, especially considering the fact that he has never had to deal with any of this drama from our parents. They've always been supportive of him and his dreams. They funded him when he had to go to college because they actually believed in him, whereas I had to put myself through college since they didn't think that any good could come out of a liberal arts degree. I was lucky that I got a scholarship, so it was not that difficult for me. But even then, it still hurt that they didn't have any faith in me. But anyway, after everything that has happened, I think I have earned the right to put some distance between myself and my family for now. I'm not saying that I'm never going to speak to them again. I think that would be pretty impractical, but for now, I just want to live my life by myself without any judgment from other people. And because I have received the most amount of judgment from my parents, I think it's only fair for me to cut them out of my life for now, until I feel like I can deal with them again. Life can't always work on their terms, where they can support me when they want to and belittle me when they want to without any consequences. Obviously, supporting me right now is much easier than before because I've proven myself, but I needed the support when I hadn't actually done anything worthwhile. And then they were not there for me, so right now I don't want them to be here for me either. I'm good on my own, if that makes sense. Anyway, I just wanted to know if I was the bad guy here because I was feeling kind of guilty. Obviously, my parents wanted the best for me, but I just think there could have been better ways to go about it. So, what do you guys think? AITA for not wanting to speak to my parents right now because they never supported me when I actually needed it. Update 1. Hey, so everybody asking me why I had even bothered to keep in touch with my parents for so long. Well, I guess the fact of the matter is they are family at the end of the day. They raised me, and just because I have spoken about the bad parts of our relationship doesn't mean that it was all bad. It just means that the bad parts are hard to overlook. But obviously, growing up, I was quite close to my parents as well, because they always supported my dreams. It was only as I grew older that they started getting more realistic and practical. So yeah, for that reason, I had always forgiven them whenever they tried to make it up to me later on after every fight. But this time I guess I just couldn't take it anymore because I was already quite stressed because of work and everything. Because this was quite a big opportunity for me. And I wanted to give it my best. And obviously, you can't do that if you constantly have people telling you that you need to do something better with your life. That's why I had decided to cut them out until I was done with my work. But right now, I feel like I need some more space and time away from them. So, yeah, that's why I'm staying away. I don't see anything wrong about what I'm doing right now, but clearly a lot of people in the comments feel differently. A certain group of people in the comments seem to believe that I'm totally the villain here because I can't seem to see how my parents have always looked out for me, how they have always tried to support me in their own way, and how they were only trying to help me by showing me the reality of the world, not really belittling me. I have received some pretty vicious personal comments on the original post telling me that I'm a bad guy here, that I owe my parents an apology, that I'm playing the victim, and honestly, it's just ridiculous how some of you have missed the point entirely. Now, I don't exactly have to defend myself to a bunch of strangers who don't like me on the basis of one post. I feel like I should say this out loud just in case somebody out there is going through the same thing and they happen to read any of this. So here's the thing. I do not believe that I am the bad guy here at all now, even though I did think so when I was writing my original post. But I thought about it and I went through the majority of the comments as well. Everybody seems to believe the same thing, that after everything that my parents have put me through, I deserve to have some peace and quiet. And if that means having to put some distance between me and them, then I should do it. It's just as simple as that. And that's what I'm going to believe. And now, coming to the people who were saying that my parents were looking out for me and that I'm the bad guy to hold that against them. I'm sorry, but putting somebody down constantly, making them doubt themselves, is not the way to look out for them. Like I had said in my original post as well, there are many ways to look out for people, to let them know that you're worried for them, and to tell them that you have their backs. And what my parents did was not the right way. So if anybody is in the same position as me, or anybody reading this is in the position of my parents, please know that putting somebody down, making somebody question themselves and their choices constantly, making them feel like they are not good enough no matter what they do, that's not the way to treat people you love. And I'm going to stand by that no matter what anybody says, because at the end of the day, I know what I've been through. I know how my parents have treated me and how disappointed I have been in that, especially considering the fact that whenever I was a kid, they always used to support me. They used to put my amateur paintings on the fridge. So if they could do that back then why not as I grow older? That's what hurts the most, that they made me believe I could be whatever I wanted, and then all of a sudden, when I actually started believing it, they had a problem with that and started dismantling all my self-esteem and worth. So yeah, I don't feel sorry about what I'm doing right now. I'm not going to let myself feel guilty either. And I'm going to stick by my decision, not talk to them until I feel like it's time for me to go back to them. But for now, I just want to enjoy my life. And I want to be on my own. If that makes them upset, then so be it. I can't help it. Update 2. Hey, so it's been 2 weeks since my previous update, and today I ran into my parents at a restaurant. It was totally unplanned, so it felt like a bit of a big coincidence, and I'm honestly still shocked. I made some plans with a friend to check out this new restaurant a couple of blocks away from my house, and coincidentally, as soon as we entered, I saw my parents having dessert. They did not see me at first, and I thought about leaving before they did, but then I was already there, and I really wanted to check the restaurant out, so I decided to be there because I was not going to vacate the place because my parents happened to be there. So anyway, we took our place slightly away from them, but when they were leaving, they saw us anyway, and my parents decided to come over and say hello to me. The energy was quite awkward, so my friend decided to go out for a smoke so she could leave us alone. And even though I was kind of upset with her for abandoning me in the beginning, as my parents started talking to me, I realized it was much needed, because the thing that we were discussing would have been very awkward to discuss in front of her. My parents basically started apologizing for everything they had said to me in the past. They told me that they had only tried to look out for me, but obviously they have not done it in the right way. They had made me question myself. They really wanted me to know that they were ashamed of how they had behaved. They told me that they were frustrated because they had just heard of way too many talented artists and writers and people like that fading into irrelevance. And they did not want this to happen to me, and that was why they were so paranoid about the whole thing. But obviously, they had done it in a very mean way, and they did not want me to forgive them immediately, but they wanted me to at least know that they were sorry about it, and they had realized how badly they had messed up. They also told me that they would still love to have me over for dinner whenever I wanted to. All I had to do was give them a phone call, nothing else. I just kept nodding throughout the whole thing. I didn't really have much to say to them. They did most of the talking, and they were only apologizing to me over and over again. I could tell they were being sincere, or at least I hoped that they were, because it really seemed like it. Anyway, towards the end, they told me that they would really like it if I would unblock them, because they did not want to lose contact with me. They did not want to lose me at all, and I told them that I would, and I have. Now that I have unblocked them, I don't know how things are going to go. I don't even know what I'm going to do, but it was actually not that bad to run into them today. Update 3. Okay, so it's been 3 days since my last update, and today I received a very ridiculous email from my brother, and honestly, I'm extremely annoyed with this guy. As it is, we don't really get along. On top of that, he has to do stuff like this to make it even worse. Basically, in the email, he told me that he had heard from our parents that we had run into each other, and he was shocked that even after unblocking them, I still hadn't reached out to them to talk to them and sort things out, even after 3 days of having met them. He said that he had spoken to them. They said they really missed me, and he told me that it was ridiculous I was still keeping my distance from them and punishing them for something that they had already apologized for over and over again. At first, while I was reading the email, I thought my parents must have put him up to this, and I thought that they were trying to emotionally manipulate me or something. But then he said that our parents had apparently told him not to say any of this to me, and they were just venting to him, but he had taken it into his own hands to talk to me and push me to talk to them and sort things out with them, because he believed that it was about time that I kept my ego aside and started prioritizing my family instead of acting like a total narcissist. He also said that just because the director of his company had purchased my artwork doesn't mean that I'm somehow above him. So I need to stop acting like I'm better than the rest of my family, even though I haven't even said or done anything. It's just his own insecurities making him act out like this, and it's sad that he can't even see that. He is so used to being treated like the king that he can't accept that right now. I'm doing just as well as he is. In fact, I've already started working on my next collection, and it is turning out pretty well so far. But anyway, coming back to Jack, I just don't understand why he had to write that email to me, because if anything, he might have made things worse for my parents, and I might not have reached out to them for longer unless he had not mentioned that they had told him anything about sending this kind of email to me. But he just took it upon himself to do so because he couldn't just let me be in peace. Anyway, I did not reply to that email. I don't think it's worth it. I just deleted it, and then I blocked his email. I hadn't done that earlier because it felt like a hostile move, and I didn't want things to go bad between us again, because that always makes things awkward whenever we meet, and I didn't want that. But right now, I just really don't care. As for my parents, though, I have been thinking about how to deal with the whole situation because right now everything is still pretty delicate and fragile. But I think I'm going to go meet them for dinner this weekend because why not, right? I mean, things cannot possibly be worse than this. And if they have put in the effort of coming up to me and apologizing to me over and over again, then I don't want to be the bad guy and not give them a second chance. Everybody deserves a second chance, and if they can show me that they're not going to screw it up for me this time, that they are going to be supportive of me and not going to belittle me, then I am all for reconciling with them and rebuilding my relationship with them. Because, like I said, at the end of the day, they are family. They are my parents, and of course, I do miss them. And if things can go back to being normal and good again, then I would truly love that. With my brother, though, it's going to be a different story altogether, and I'm going to have to tell my parents I don't want him around for now. And that's going to be another argument, or whatever, because obviously my parents love my brother, but for this weekend at least, I just don't want to see him. I don't think that's going to be difficult to arrange, but I'm still going to have to see him on holidays, like proper occasions, so God only knows what I'm going to do then. Honestly, I just don't understand why he has to be so hard to deal with. Why he can't just get along with me and not make everything so incredibly difficult for both of us. I know for a fact right now that he's just insecure and jealous, and that's why he is behaving like this. That's why he had to say that thing about the director of his company buying artwork from me, because he thinks I might outdo him at some point career-wise. Basically, he's feeling threatened, and that's why he feels the need to put me down. But I've already dealt with the worst of it, and this kind of thing doesn't affect me anymore. To be very honest, it's just making him look like a fool, and that's just sad. But anyway, I'm going to talk to my parents, and I'm going to arrange to have dinner with them this weekend. I guess I'll let you guys know how it goes. Keeping my fingers crossed. Update 4. Hi, so I finally had dinner with my parents last evening, and contrary to everything that I had believed earlier, it actually went pretty well. I was quite worked up about it when I went out. I thought that it was going to go badly, that they were going to judge me again, and basically I was anticipating the worst, but when I actually went there, it was pretty normal. Once again, they apologized and greatly appreciated my work. They told me that they were sorry they had never tried to support me earlier, had always acted like such jerks, and it felt really good to hear them take accountability for once. We sorted out, we spoke about everything, and we were able to clear the air, and I'm really glad about that. And then I spoke to them about Jack as well. I told them that I don't want to see him for a while, so if we were going to have dinner, then I would appreciate it if they could have dinner with us separately. And to my surprise, they told me that they already knew, because they had invited Jack for dinner as well, but he had been a no-show and had claimed that if I was going to be there, then he had no interest in being there and had not bothered to explain much. So they had figured that there was something going off between us, and they were going to leave it to us to sort it out because we were adults now and they did not want to interfere. So that was that. Jack and I don't have to see each other at our parents' place, but we definitely will have to see each other at other events. And I guess I'll find a way to deal with it because as it is, it's not like we'll have to talk to each other beyond the common civilities. So I'll be fine with that. But anyway, my point was that I had dinner with my parents and it went pretty well, and I'm planning on having dinner with them next week as well, because I think we have a lot to talk about. There is a lot that is to be discussed. Even now, and nothing would make me happier than being able to have a normal relationship with them like everyone else does with their parents. And I can see that they are genuinely trying to be supportive and make up for everything that has happened in the past. So I truly believe that this is going to go well. For the first time in ages, I came back home feeling happy after a dinner with my parents. That hadn't happened in the past couple of years, so this is pretty new for me. I wish I could have a totally normal family and not have a dysfunctional relationship with my brother as well, but I guess I can't have everything. I should be happy with what I have right now and work on my relationship with my parents for now. So, yeah, I'm genuinely happy with my decision right now. Update 5. Hey, it's been 2 years since my previous update, and wow, so much has changed. To catch you guys up, I have a pretty normal relationship with my parents now. Everything is in the past, and we do have our differences here and there, but nothing that major. As for Jack, we only stick to the common civilities whenever we see each other and nothing beyond that. And ever since he got promoted last year, his head got too big for himself and he thinks the world of himself now. So he hardly even speaks to our parents now because he thinks that they prioritize me too much. And funnily enough, he thinks I'm the one with the big head. As for my career, it's going pretty well. I'm proud of myself for how far I've been able to make it. And so are my parents. And they attend all my events now. They're incredibly supportive, and that's why in a few weeks they will be walking me down the aisle. If somebody had told me that this was going to happen a couple of years ago, I would have refused to believe them, but it's happening. One of my friends from high school asked me out at our reunion, which happened just a couple of weeks after my first dinner with my parents that I had spoken about in my previous updates, and since then we've been together, and a couple of months ago he popped the big question and I said yes. So I'm getting married. I have a healthy relationship with my parents and my work is doing great. I really couldn't have asked for more, and I feel like all my patience and hard work has actually paid off. I'm very happy with my life. Stay tuned for more stories from our girl relationships.